What is the probability of going out for a walk and suddenly finding something that would make you a millionaire in just a second? We are not talking about a treasure or a suitcase with $1 million inside, but about something rather unusual, an animal. You might know that rich collectors and fans of wild animals are ready to pay quite serious money for some creatures. Unfortunately, poachers take advantage of this, and that's really bad. But still, do you want to see the most expensive animals in the world? Here are top 10 expensive animals that will make you a millionaire. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. Scorpion venom. Scorpion venom is not only dangerous, it can also make you quite a bit of money. The deathstalker is one of the most dangerous scorpions on the planet, and its venom is also the most expensive liquid in the world at $146 million per liter. Even if you had the money, you couldn't just go and buy a liter of the stuff, because you can only get it in tiny, minuscule amounts. Almost $1,900 will get you a droplet that's smaller than a grain of sugar. Inside that deadly venom, there's tons of useful components that are helping pioneer breakthrough medicines in science. Neurotoxins, for example, are the perfect size to bind with certain cancer cells in the brain and spine, which is helpful for identifying the specific size and location of tumors. And researchers have used scorpion to eliminate malaria in mosquitoes. Calia toxin has been given to rats to fight bone disease. Scientists hope it could work in humans too. Black cockatoo. This black cockatoo is a real and rather expensive bird that lives in the north of Australia. In the peninsula of Kittiork in New Guinea and the nearby islands are the oldest species of cockatoo in Australia. It was the first to inhabit the northern part of this continent. Perhaps because of its rich history, the black cockatoo is a pretty capricious creature with an awfully nasty character. They are difficult to keep in captivity, and even a tiny mistake in training is enough to make the bird aggressive and red with anger. Literally. In addition, like all cockatoos, these black birds are vindictive, and they never forget. If you hurt them, you can't put this animal in a cage. Either because it'll simply cut the bars open with its teeth. A seemingly quiet life in a zoo is also not suitable for a black cockatoo. The fact is that in nature, these unusual birds feed on the nuts of the coronary tree. They are very difficult to replace. So even in the most comfortable conditions of captivity, black cockatoos don't live long and don't reproduce mating. This species in the wild is nearly impossible because there are not that many black cockatoos left. Because of this, their price on the black market reaches $16,000. White lion. It was believed that white lions were just some fictional creatures from the beautiful legends of South Africa. The first scientific observations about this animal were published in the 1900s, and since then sightings of white lions were quite rare. Only in 1975 cubs of a white lion were found in the Timbavati Nature Reserve. Just imagine these dazzling white little lions. There was an assumption that about 20,000 years ago in the Paleolithic era, white lions lived among the endless snow deserts, so they acquired this snow-white color which served as camouflage during hunting. Then, as a result of global climate change on the planet, white lions began to inhabit the savannas and prairies of hotter countries. Surprisingly, these snow-white felines are not albinos, nor do they belong to a separate species. Perhaps their color indicates a fairly rare genetic disease, the opposite of melanism in black panthers. Today, white lions have no more than 300 all over the world, live in zoos and nature reserves in the wild. Their chances of survival are negligible. White lions are too noticeable to hunt and vulnerable to humans. This animal is really valuable. A cub of a white lion can cost about $100,000. Tibetan Mastiff. Dogs are a man's best friend and are priced accordingly. Pedigree breeds have long been expensive purchases, but the Tibetan Mastiff, which sells for an average price of $500,000, takes the biscuit. Amongst the big dogs alive, the Tibetan Mastiff is so loyal. It was traditionally used to protect flocks of farm animals from predators, and took the duty pretty seriously given the reported cases of Tibetan Mastiffs killing tigers. That's why they are highly prized in China, where they have a very strong cultural heritage. The market for Mastiffs in China is so large that it's estimated to generate around $250 to $300 million a year. Then there's Lancelot Uncle and Cap the sheepdog, which definitely deserve mention in the expensive dogs category. Sir Lancelot looks like a pretty average dog, but the encore in his name alludes to the irregularity that prides him at $155,000. That's what his owners had to pay to clone a dog. The sheepdog was a comparable steal at a mere $16,000 and was priced purely on the strength of his ability. According to his breeder, the Northern Irish Collie is a special dog with genuine power and has a calming effect on sheep. It's fair to say that today's prices of dogs have gone through the roof. Missy Cow. Cows aren't known for their intelligence, and it might be just as well that they aren't quick on the uptake. They'd watch humans fawning over horses in the next field, brushing their tails and galloping them around, and wonder why the only time they get any individual attention is when they are shipped to the abattoir. Or some cows do get the attention they deserve though, and no cow has the same level of attention as Missy, a Holstein cow of such prize-winning beauty. She fetched $1.2 million at auction. Missy may not have a great name, but at least she has a name you know, as opposed to having a tag bolted through her ear with a processing number to identify her in 2009. She even added a distinction to her name. She is now Missy 2009 Western Full National Show North America's Grand Champion. If only all cows could enjoy such a distinction. Lavender Albino Bull Python. The lavender albino python is a rare genetic morph of the bull python. Their pretty pastel coloration has made them highly valued among snake enthusiasts. They are defined by their pale lavender background scales with golden markings and ruby red eyes. Albinism is caused by the body's inability to produce melanin, the pigment in skin that protects it from UV rays. In 1992, the first albino bull pythons were sold in the United States for $7,500 each. After that, interest grew for Python regius, and the desire for rare breeds escalated. Now this lavender albino python prices is above $40,000. Bull pythons live about 10 years in the wild, but can live 20 to 40 years on average in captivity. Bull pythons became popular pets because they are easy to handle and reach an average size of 3 feet, with a maximum size of 6 feet, which is manageable for most pet owners. DeBraz's monkey. DeBraz's monkey, also known as swamp monkeys, is curious looking characters. A snowy Santa Claus beard dominates the lower part of their face, and they've also got a coffee that crowns their heads, which wouldn't look out of place in a hair gel commercial. The monkeys can be found in the wetlands of Central Africa. If you're good at hide and seek, that is, these monkeys are one of the most elusive simians around and rarely venture out of cover. Perhaps that's why they cost between $7,000 and $10,000. Chimpanzees are even more expensive. You can expect to shell out more than $60,000 for an animal that shares 98% of its DNA with humans. But be wary of joining those who think that genetic affinity amounts to the guarantee of a good pet. There are numerous reported cases of chimps savagely attacking their owners. Pandas. Pandas are the poster child for endangered species worldwide. Looking at their big eyes and cuddly toy fur would make anyone lament mankind's destructive impact on animal habitats. Even though panda numbers are partially threatened because they can't be bothered having sex, pandas are so valuable China has been known to use them as sweeteners for trade deals. There were you thinking China was the fastest growing economy in the world due to its booming population and ability to manufacture products. Actually, they're raking in the bucks by renting out pandas. Worldwide zoos pay millions a year to rent. Panda San Diego Zoo alone has paid $46 million for pandas. Since 1996, that equates to over $500,000 a year to rent out a pair of pandas. Perhaps pandas will be floated on the stock market next. Texel rams. Animals rarely get the attention they deserve. Sheep, like cows, spend most of their life crowded into a field left to get on with the serious business of eating as much grass as it takes them to get fat for slaughter. Some sheep are so special, however, that they can't help but stand out. Devon veiled perfection. A Texel ram fetched almost £250,000 in 2009 when he was purchased by Scottish farmer Jimmy Douglas at an auction in Lanark. Remarkably, it's been suggested that Douglas will turn a profit on the transaction. John Yates of the Texas Sheep Society pointed out that a Texel ram called Total Joe had earned £1 million in stud fees. A lot of people see these animals as lamb chops, Yeats said, but these flocks are at the top of the genetic pile. This was the elite animal that stood out. If you like my video, don't forget like and subscribe my channel. Let us comments below.